In this session, we will explain how to set up an in-app message using the Dataroid panel. After navigating to the in-app message list, we'll click the New In-App Message button at the top right. Once the modal appears, we'll paste the name of our in-app message and click Create. When an in-app message is created, there are 5 main steps to follow. The first step is to define the target audience of the in-app message. You can target all users who have met the relevant in-app rule, leverage static user groups imported into Dataroid, or use audiences calculated by Dataroid based on a set of rules. Remember, to use user group and audience, they must first be created in the target section. In this example, we will proceed with user group. When you select user group, all available user groups are listed below. You can search for them using the search button or select the desired user group with specific sorting. In this example, we're targeting the payment drop-off group, which includes users who have abandoned payments. Let's move on to the next step. The second step involves deciding on the display options of the in-app message. You can decide when to trigger your in-app message here at the top. You can display an in-app message when a specific event occurs, when your application digital channel opens, or immediately after any notification sent via Dataroid is opened. If you select On Event, you will be prompted to choose an event. In this example, I will use the View Start event. You will need to further narrow down the in-app rule using Add property. For example, selecting View Label as Dashboard allows for further refinement of the rule. You can also set a delay of up to 60 seconds for the in-app message. In this case, I will set a 1-second delay. The next step is where you decide on the display frequency of the message. You can set it to display once per session, every time the rule is triggered, or at custom frequencies you define. Remember, if you choose always, the in-app message may appear multiple times in a single session. For this example, we will proceed with a custom frequency, a maximum of 1 message every 10 days, with a minimum of 15 days between 2 displays. Next, we have our global capping settings. Global capping limits the total number of in-app views. You can decide whether to include this in-app message in the overall global capping or exclude it using the Exclude button. To check if your app has a general global capping, click Settings. In this panel, a global cap is set to a maximum of 2 per session, 3 per day, 4 per week, and 5 per month. If you wish your in-app message to be viewed within these limits, continue without making any changes. Message priority is used to prioritize in-app messages that are triggered by the same rule. Lower priority values mean higher priority. You can also set the start and end dates for your message. If set to never, the in-app message will continue to display indefinitely unless manually paused or completed. To stop an in-app message set to never, you can mark it as on hold or complete. Display preferences allow you to define the days or hours when the in-app message should or should not appear. For example, I will set this message to be silent during weekends, selecting Silent On and marking Saturday and Sunday as all day. You can add more rules using the plus button. If you check Display in User's Time Zone, the display schedule will apply according to the user's time zones. Otherwise, it will follow the panel user's time zone. The third section is the Goal section. Here, you can define a goal to measure the success of your in-app message. Although optional, we highly recommend not skipping this step. You can set an event you expect users to complete after seeing the in-app message and specify the time window for this action. For our instance, I will name the goal Ask Friends and select the event Ask Friends Success. If the user completes this event within 24 hours of seeing the in-app, it will be counted as a goal completion. You can add multiple goal events or use the purchase event as a goal. If you use purchase event for a retail app, the revenue generated at the end of this in-app message will be automatically reported. We'll continue with the fourth step, which is designing the content of our in-app message. In this step, we'll start by selecting the language of our message. If your app supports multiple languages, you can display the in-app message in the user's preferred language. For example, you can set it to appear in English for English users and in German for German users. Remember, if you select additional languages, you'll need to create designs for all language selections. We'll go with English and choose the in-app message format. Banner, which can be a top or bottom banner, a modal, full screen mode, or a carousel, which allows you to display multiple full screen designs. After selecting the format for the message, you can adjust its position. You can also play with the width of your message. The next design step for your in-app message is deciding on the style. You can play with the radius, pick a background color or an image. For this example, we will use a full screen format with a gray background. Now, we'll start actually creating the content of our message by leveraging blocks. Here we have a rich library of text blocks, image blocks, button blocks, and spacer blocks. For starters, I want my text block to be at the top. So, I will use the drag and drop capability to adjust its position. Now, I will enter my campaign text. I will format this text by selecting Arial Bold from the font style options and increasing the font size. Don't forget, you can also add emojis to your text blocks. Next, I will start working on the image block. I will then add an image by clicking on the block. The image size should be no more than 500 kilobytes in the resolution of your choice and in the dimensions recommended to you in accordance with the in-app message format you have chosen. If you wish, it is possible to provide a link that can take you to a certain deep link or URL when you click on this image, or you can provide accessibility text as well. Again, you can round the edges of the in-app message a little more, or you can increase its margin for more space. After placing the image, I'm adding another text button, and within this text button, I will describe my new feature. As you can see, as I place these texts, the in-app preview on the right side gradually starts taking shape. Now, I will insert a button block below. It is possible to choose from two buttons side by side, a single button, or vertically stacked buttons. I'm choosing 2 buttons for the top button layout. To slightly round the corners of my button, or to change the button's color, you can click on the respective sections and make the necessary adjustments. I can also slightly increase the margin around the edges of my button to create some space. We can then proceed by selecting the dimensions, horizontal positioning, or deciding if the button should be centered or aligned to the bottom. Remember, each button must have a defined action. For the Ask Now button I've created, it is possible to set actions such as redirecting to a URL, triggering a deep link, dismissing and closing the in-app, copying something, or a custom action. I'm going with the deep link option to proceed. This deep link needs to be obtained from your third-party app. Now, I'll move on to designing the bottom button. I'm defining its action as dismiss. Again, I will provide a similar margin for this button. To position your buttons, you can insert a spacer. If you wish to increase the length of this spacer, you can use the relevant button here, or you can choose Fill Available Spacing to move the buttons down as much as possible. If the buttons are placed too low, you can add another spacer to position them slightly higher. In the next step, you can decide whether or not you want to add a display close button to your in-app message. You can position the button on either the right or left side and select from various design styles. As a final step, you can choose how your message will appear to users. Options include sliding in from right to left, sliding in from left to right, sliding down from the top, sliding up from the bottom, or appearing without any animation. If you prefer to use a custom font for your text, you can upload it via the settings section and then select the uploaded font from the corresponding area here. Now that we're all set, we'll click Continue and reach the final step, Preview. Here, you can review and verify all settings and configurations related to your in-app message. If you need to modify any of the actions you've previously set, such as the target display option, goal, or message, You can click directly on the item to return to the relevant step, make your adjustments, and then navigate back to the preview step. Once the in-app message meets your expectations, you can proceed by clicking the Submit button. You can immediately publish your in-app message by clicking the Submit button, provided you have the necessary permissions. However, if displaying the in-app message requires an approval process, meaning at least one additional person must approve it, clicking the OK button will set the in-app's status to waiting for approval, pending authorization from the designated approver. Until approved, your in-app message will remain inactive and will not appear to users. Here, you can see the start and end dates for your live in-app message. Additionally, once the message is live, you have several options: reverting it to draft mode, stopping its display, marking it as completed, deleting it, viewing its metrics, cloning it, or adjusting its priority. Finally, you can simply click on your in-app message to access detailed information and track performance metrics, such as the number of users who viewed it, over a period of up to 2 years. And that's how you can create an in-app message. Thank you for watching.